Welcome to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on Newstalk 96.5 KPAL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. It's Valentine's Day, and I hope that there's some couples out there that are making Valentine's dinner together and listening to the show tonight. That would make me absolutely happy if that was the case. Normally for the first segment, I talk about what I did the previous week with Scott, the producer. However, Scott is not here today. He is actually in New Orleans with his Valentine. So we have a stand-in guest co-host tonight. Not thinking about it and asking a chef to guest co-host a show with me tonight and having them laugh in my face because, as everyone in the restaurant industry knows, this is one of the busiest nights for a restaurant. So couldn't get a chef to come in tonight. However, I did the next best thing because last year, or not, maybe it wasn't last year, maybe it was like a few years ago, when I was boohooing about not getting to go to any Valentine's dinners that the restaurants put on, because a lot of restaurants do special menus for restaurants, and feeling like I got left out. A chef's wife was quick to correct me and say, "Hey, we're alone on Valentine's Day too, so suck it up." So joining me tonight is a chef wife, Katelyn Trahan. She is married to Chef Ryan Trahan at Dark Roux. She was nice enough to guest co-host tonight. She's a little nervous, but I assured her that we don't bite. So, yeah, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So, how many Valentines do you spend alone being married to a chef?
If I would have known that 3 years ago this would have started, maybe I would have taken a little bit more of advantage of the years prior. So this is our, I believe, third year that's he's been in the restaurant. So 3 years.
Yeah. She said I was her Valentine today, and she actually brought me a gift. She brought me some Sterling Originals chocolates. If you guys haven't tasted these yet, you can go out to the lab and get them. They're fantastic. You've actually tried. I've only gotten to try one. You've gotten to try.
So
all of
I
them?
tried the whole box.
Yeah.
The small box has 5 pieces, and actually, you can get them at the lab, but we're actually selling them right now at Dark Roux too.
Oh, nice.
So, yesterday I was like, okay, I have to try these chocolates. So I bought my own box, and then this morning I woke up with a box from Ryan with a note, and I was like, hey, I'll take 5 more. What's the big deal? So
you can never have too much chocolate.
I saved 3, and hopefully I can stay up late enough tonight to share some with him.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you came on tonight. And we're going to talk in the next segment a little more about what it means to be a chef wife, because there's a lot of misconceptions about what people think that it's like and the reality of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's definitely interesting to hear y'all's side of the story too, because we always hear from the chefs on the show, and behind any great chef there is an equally great partner that keeps them going. So
100%.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that a little bit in the next segment. But first I need to ask, what hot sauce do you have in your bag? Swag.
I asked her if I could just say swag after that, but no hot sauce in my bag, although I do love Tabasco hot sauce. So
that's what
if I were to have some in my bag, it would just be original hot sauce, Tabasco hot sauce.
Can I tell you that I have been waiting since Monday to use that on air?
I don't blame you.
Because I was just like, it's perfect.
It is.
I was like, it's so perfect. I mean, that was my only takeaway from the Super Bowl. Like,
I didn't watch it,
that line. I didn't either.
And then on social media, there was nothing about football. It was all Beyonce. So
yeah, that was like my social media as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to use this. I have to use
That's
this.
perfect.
I don't think I would have hot sauce in my bag. I would have Tony Chachere's though.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not a Tony's girl.
Yeah, I'm not a hot sauce girl, and I don't know. Well, maybe like a garlic pepper hot sauce that was out there. Maybe one of those would be in my bag. But I would definitely have Tony's in my bag.
See, I can't I can't have gumbo without Tabasco.
Yeah. One of my coworkers spent a semester in Europe, and she had her mom actually ship her Tonys.
I believe it.
Because they don't have it up there.
I believe
and
it.
So all of her friends up there were using Tonys, and yeah. Jolie's tonight is the last night for anyone who hasn't gotten out, and they probably do not have any reservations left for tonight, but tonight is the last night. They are closing their doors after dinner service tonight. They were open for 7 years. I went and said my goodbyes Thursday night, super packed at 5:00 in the afternoon, and they said they've been very busy since they made the announcement. Have you dined at Jolie's a lot?
Recently, no, but again, that is also in part to the fact that we don't get out and dine very often. Ryan obviously spends a lot of his nights in the restaurant, so usually if we dine, it's something pretty quick, and it's not let's get dressed and go somewhere, because we're just pretty tired. Been a while since Jolie's, but we had actually thought about having them cater our wedding. I mean, we've loved Jolie's and definitely hate to see it go. And I mean, we wish them all the best for sure.
Yeah, it was really sad. Like I said on last week's show, it's so the ambiance in there was part of the reason. Beautiful building. It didn't feel like you were eating anywhere in Lafayette. Amazing bar program.
Mm-hmm.
Chadwick was doing a really good job over there. Chadwick Crawford, who is the bartender there, is going to Pamplona. So if you didn't get to have his cocktails at Jolie's, go and see him at Pamplona. He actually made me one of the drinks that he was working on for the spring menu when I went Thursday night, and it had champagne and whiskey in it with some other things. And I almost started crying right then. And then they also sent me out
in a glass.
Yeah, some braised beef ravioli that was amazing too. So I'm really sad. I'm happy though that they were, they went out with a bang.
Definitely.
Because they were so busy. But I am very
It's sad that it takes that to get people out there for sure.
Yes, and that was. Someone joked and said, man, they should have faked their death a long time ago because of how busy they are at it. And it's really, so that I think that was hard for me to see too, that they were so packed.
Yeah, I think that speaks volumes just for all the restaurants around here in Lafayette. It's like people forget that we have to go out as a community. We have to go out and support these restaurants so that they can stay here. And to me, the food is what makes Lafayette such a great place. So, I mean, we don't want to keep losing any of these restaurants that are such gems here,
Right. Definitely not. I want all of our local restaurants to thrive and succeed here. I don't want to lose any more locally owned restaurants.
No, not at all.
And we also want to give a shout out to Isaac Toops, who won Restaurant Wars this week on Top Chef. Actually ruined it for Katelyn because she said her and Ryan actually watch it together and they're behind an episode. But it was all over my social media this week because they interviewed him in the advertiser and everything. And he's from Eunice, in case no one knew that. He has restaurants in New Orleans. I haven't gotten to see this season.
Oh, it's really good. His personality is so much fun to watch on TV. And I mean, he's been doing a great job. And
do you think he's going to win? Like, do you think he has what it takes to win?
I think he definitely has a chance. I mean, I obviously would love to see him win. Ryan being from Crowley, I feel like they're almost, from the same type of place. So it's really cool. And just, a local guy, you're always going to root for them, even if you don't know them personally. I think he has a good chance. I mean, the competition is tough for sure. I think probably the person he might compete with at the end would be Kwame. But I mean, I'm excited to see where it goes, and I wish him the best of luck. And we're rooting for you.
All right, we are going to take our first break, and when we come back, we have more with Katelyn. So come back to us. It's a Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPOW. Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPOW. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and joining us in the guest co-host seat tonight is Katelyn Trahan. She is the wife of Chef Ryan Trahan with Dark Roux. How long have you and Ryan known each other?
We met when I was 15, so that makes 11 years.
Yeah, so it's been going strong. How long into that relationship did Ryan decide that he wanted? Because wasn't he supposed to go to law school?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say from day one, he's always obviously loved to cook. I mean, anytime he'd have a bad day, I'd be like, I'll buy the groceries, you can cook, and that would make him happy. And he graduated college. He was studying to go to law school. And then he started the whole chef thing. And, the rest is kind of history. But it's funny because he used to say, well, when we retire, maybe we'll open a little mom and pop restaurant. And I was like, sounds good, babe. We can do that. So we laugh. It's like our retirement plan came a little early. So,
and from getting to know him more, I didn't realize how much of the restaurant industry was in his blood.
Oh,
with his
born
family,
and raised.
Yeah, owning Frosto and Mama's Chicken too, or is there a fried chicken? Nope, not a fried chicken place.
Just Frosto and Crowley. Yes,
just Frosto and Crowley. Yeah. So I didn't even realize the connection. Last show that he came on, the Crowley connection came about, and that's when I realized that. So I think when people think of the idea of a chef wife, myself included, going into when I first started writing about food, I know completely different now. Otherwise, people have this idea of what it is to marry a chef, and I think one of the first things out of their mouth is, oh my God, you must get all these amazing meals at your house.
That is the first thing everyone asks. And you're just like, you kind of get tired of answering it, but you're like, no, I mean, you guys get the good meals at his restaurant. I've kind of had to learn how to cook with us being together since we were 15 and him always liking to cook. He did spoil me before. So within the last 3 years, it's like, okay, Katelyn, not just mac and cheese. Like, you got to learn how to cook something else. But it is nice. I mean, when he does come home and cooks, I mean, it's like, how did he do that? Like, with the things we have in the refrigerator, I'm like, I'll look in the refrigerator and stare like, well, can't cook anything. And then he'll come home and whip something up in 5 minutes. But for the most part, I mean, he doesn't come home and do this amazing meal. That's just not, that's not how it works. That's like
the last thing on his mind after working a long shift.
Yeah, he's exhausted. He's exhausted. I mean, if he comes home, he's like, you want sloppy joes? I'm like, sure.
And that's another thing to think about, that it's late nights, weekends, and holidays.
Oh, yeah.
So he's not there for a lot of that. So a chef wife life, in a sense, can almost be a little lonely. You have to have a good support group and a support system outside of that. And
100%. Yeah. Like, I couldn't agree more. And it's like, I like to say, it's not really loneliness, but it's just like aloneness. You're just kind of always by yourself. And I mean, I'll be the first to admit, in the beginning, that was really, really difficult. But like you said, I mean, you have to find people that are going to support you. And along the way, I've lost people and I've gained people. And that's been great for me. I mean, I surround myself with amazing women that just kind of get me through it and keep me motivated and make sure that, I'm there to support him. And without my support, he has a hard time working. So, it's nothing good comes from it if I'm not on his side, and if I'm complaining, that does us no good. So, it's kind of, being alone a lot, but you learn to deal, and we learn, that Monday and Tuesday, that's our weekends, and that's when we spend our time together. And we love that.
Coming from someone who doesn't work a normal day job schedule either, I've come to love days off during the week, because there's restaurants that aren't open on Saturdays and Sundays that are open only for lunch during the week, that I'm like, man, I really want to go to this restaurant. And you can go and they're not really busy. Or the crazy, insane brunch spot on Sundays that's a 45-minute wait. You can go during the week
and not have a problem.
Not a wait. Yeah. So it does have its advantages.
It does. Sometimes he's like, well, babe, it's Monday. Let's go. And I'm like, well, I have to work. So that'll have to wait till 5. But we get it in there when we can.
When you can.
Yeah.
What has been the biggest learning lesson from being married?
Oh, I would say patience, most definitely. I mean, you learn so much. It's hard not to like get a little emotional about that. patience for sure, and just always supporting. And the thing is, it's like, unless you're talking to a chef's wife, which I don't really have many of those, people will never truly understand what it is you go through and how it is you feel. So I also have learned to just give people grace, and knowing that maybe they don't know what to say, but they're always doing their best. And I know that Ryan's always doing his best, not only to provide for the two of us, but, you know, just to make sure that I'm taken care of. And, you know, that's how we get by.
It's evident that you two have a great relationship. From, like, I see y'all's Facebook posts back and forth, like, and you'll leave each other little notes. It looks like from
yeah, usually it's like sticky notes, because a lot of times we'll cross. So sometimes I try to stay up as late as possible so that I can see him, but some nights I just can't make it. So I'll wake up and he might leave me a note because I wake up before he wakes, or, you know, this morning he was out the door quick, so I had a little note, which was nice, knowing that he's thinking about me. And I'm like, I'm surely not going to go bother him because I know he's crazy busy. So
right. Did you get to go and see him at all today?
I stopped by right before I came in, and it was hectic. I did get a little kiss, and he was like, "Okay, babe, I'll see you later. Good luck." I'm like, "All right, babe, see ya. You need more luck than I need, so knock him dead."
Yeah, I'm sure it's a little crazy today.
It is, but it's great. I mean, we had a really great breakfast and lunch, and I know that it's going to be a great dinner, and I think people will be really pleased. And you know, he's kind of got a little set menu tonight and complimentary chocolate, so it'll be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we talked about the downfall, I guess, to being married to a chef. What are some of the good things about being married to a chef?
So when we go on vacations, we get to eat really good foods, and that's probably the best part. Like
at restaurants.
Yeah, and he never wants to go anywhere that's not like top of the line. So we always get to eat really, really good foods, and it's very adventurous, and he's opened my palate and my mind up to so many different foods, which I love. Advantages are that I get to try new donuts before anyone else does, or croissants. He's like, "Babe, I brought you a croissant. We're going to put them on the menu more." I'm like, yes. So those are advantages. I mean, you know, it's weird. It's like you try not to think like, "Oh, I'm a chef's wife." Like, I'm just a wife and he's my husband, and yeah, things are a little different in our relationship, but I think everyone's relationship is different, you know, no matter what type of quote unquote wife you are.
And okay, so we're going to plug Dark Roux really quickly, that they are doing something new, bringing something new again to Lafayette. Those guys over there continue to do that. Dining in the dark.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
His brain is always sticking, I tell y'all. So he is doing like a 5-part series, Dining in the Dark. The first one is March 7th at 6 o'clock. He's only selling 18 tickets, and I know he's sold some so far, so there's definitely not 18 available yet. It's going to be 10 to 15 courses, like a chef's tasting with a pairing, cocktails or wines, I'm not sure. And I know he's going to be doing a cocktail hour before. He's calling it Foraging the Gulf Coast. So part 1 is the wetlands. Unfortunately, him and I have not sat down and talked about what that menu looks like, so I don't have any sneak peeks.
Well, yeah, I think they said they're not releasing the menu until the night. And that's what I was going to ask you, the Dining in the Dark. Does that mean you're just not going to know what you're eating, or are you actually eating in the dark? So he's
not going to release the menu ahead of time. And once you purchase your ticket, you're actually going to get your invitation in the mail along with a blindfold that you'll bring to the restaurant. So you're going to be sitting with 17 other people who are going to be blindfolded as well as you. And I think the way it works is they'll basically take your hand and they'll put it around your plate so that you know where your plate is and your fork is. And you'll eat, and it's, you know, it's a great way to just like heighten the rest of your senses. You know, it's all about smell and things like that. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what he puts on that menu, and I think it'll be really fun.
Man, so when we judged the king cake taste off and we were blindfolded, and it was a completely different experience.
I bet. I've never done something like that.
So I can't even imagine like 15 courses. Well, we did 13 king cakes, but like 15 courses with cocktails too. So I guess like each person's gonna have like a someone to help guide them. I guess.
Right. Well, I think
eat.
the servers actually have to work pretty hard for something like that because there's a lot of assistance that has to be brought to the guests. So I know he did a small one for Maven for their Christmas party.
Oh, cool.
And it went really well, and they had a really good time, and maybe that's kind of what inspired him to start doing this. And again, like I said, he's always thinking of something else he wants to do.
So where can people go to get more information on the tickets, and do you have the cost of the tickets?
Yes, the tickets are $175 a person. You can go to either www.darkroux.la.com, or you can visit us on Facebook. If you just look up Dark Roux, you can see our event there.
Katelyn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You survived. I did. She was so nervous, and you did great.
I just want to tell Ryan I love you and happy Valentine's Day, babe.
All right, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we have Chef Blake Fontenot. He is the new executive chef at the Sizzling Monkey, downtown Lafayette's newest restaurant. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and joining me now is Blake Fontenot, who is the executive chef of Sizzling Monkey. I think it's very fitting that we have a restaurant called Sizzling Monkey, and it's the year of the monkey with the Chinese zodiac. Yeah. So thank you for joining us tonight, Blake.
Oh, thanks for having me, Tiffany.
So Jesse Ryder, who is guest co-host a lot on the show, who was actually the chef that I had asked to guest co-host tonight and laughed in my face hysterically, is a good friend of yours.
Yes, me and Jesse have been friends for a number of years. We worked together at Charlie G's, and he's an all-around great guy, great cook, fantastic cook.
Yeah, and I believe he said he's going to be picking up some shifts at the Sizzling Monkey, too.
Yeah, he's going to be helping me with our Saturday and Sunday brunch. He did the brunch at Blue Dog in its heyday, I guess I call it.
Right.
And he seems to know what he's doing, and I just love having that kind of enthusiasm on my staff.
So tell us about this menu for the Sizzling Monkey. You guys have been open for 2 weeks now?
Yes, ma'am. We're a Cuban steakhouse with a twist. The twist is you can actually cook your steak at your table. We have a specialized oven that heats lava rocks to 800 degrees, and the rock comes out sizzling hot with your choice of prime meat, fresh seafood, scallops, and you can actually cook it at your table because, these days everybody loves to cook. Everybody sees all kinds of recipes they want to try on Pinterest, Facebook, and I feel getting the customers involved is a great concept.
And that's something new for Lafayette, and it's also something that isn't done a lot around the United States. You and I were talking about that before the show. Mm-hmm. I was thinking that it was Korean in nature, but it was actually Japanese. You said in Japan they do this. Mm-hmm. And there's only a few places in the United States that do it.
Yeah, there's only a few places in the United States, and the owners, Jesus Marino and Ashley Mouton, actually got the idea from a place they visited in the Bahamas, and they loved the concept and they wanted to bring it back home with them.
And you guys are going to be serving brunch, lunch, and dinner?
Yes, we have 3 separate menus. We'll be serving lunch Monday through Friday. We open at 11, and dinner will be served until 10. And you don't have to only get the choices on the stone. We also have a full lunch menu, whether you're looking to grub or whether you're on a diet, you'll be able to find something for you.
I'm looking at the menu right now. You had brought me a copy of it. There's fondue on here, which makes me excited.
Oh, yeah.
And then the oyster bar, there's this dragon oyster that has soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, sesame oil, and curry aioli that looks good. And then you also have the buffalo oyster.
Yeah, I had never ever seen a buffalo oyster done before, and I make my own wing sauce from scratch with 5 different peppers. And I just decided to put it on an oyster one day with some blue cheese, throw it on the char griller, and then garnish it with some shaved celery. And not only does it look nice, but it tasted incredible.
I'm going to have to try that. I don't think I've had, I know that there's some places in New Orleans that do them. I haven't seen them on a menu here in Lafayette, so I definitely want to check that one out.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. What has been the most popular menu items so far in the 2 weeks that you guys have been open?
For the last 2 weeks, we started with a limited menu because of Mardi Gras going on. We didn't want to go full scale quite yet, but on this limited menu, I had a smoked Cuban sandwich, which is going to be on our lunch and dinner menu, and it's absolutely fantastic. The owner is Cuban, and his sister's Cuban, and she is very picky about food, and she's had about 20 of them since we opened.
We need some good Cuban sandwiches in Lafayette.
Oh yeah, and I've got this. I've got a few burgers on the lunch menu. One called the Monkey Claw. It's got a Cuban seasoned Angus beef patty with diced red bell peppers, jalapenos, caramelized onions, and then I put that on top of the burger and I seal it in with a slick, thick slice of pepper jack cheese, and then I put it on a brioche bun with chipotle aioli and lettuce, iceberg lettuce.
So, what are some of your favorite items that are on the menu?
One of my favorite items got to be the appetizer. It's called the chicken balas, which is bullets in Spanish. It's a chicken and brochette, chicken wrapped in bacon, stuffed with cream cheese, pineapple, and jalapeno, and then I serve it with a roasted red bell pepper cream sauce. And that's one of my favorites, and of course everybody's favorite, the New Orleans shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
I do it with Michelob Amber.
Okay.
And those two, we started the full menu the last 2 evenings, and those have been the hot sellers, and that's really my favorites.
And so anyone who isn't familiar where you guys are located, you're downtown off of Jefferson, in the old stands.
Yeah, 116 East Vermilion, across from the parking tower. It's a beautiful building. I love the building. It's gorgeous inside and out.
I last dined there when Vermilion House Bistro was there, and I know that the owners of that restaurant put in a lot of work, and it was gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they did a lot of work with it. So I'm gonna have to go check out this menu.
Yeah, we're gonna have the restaurant downstairs, and then we have an upstairs, which is gonna be event venue / dance club kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also gonna be a Scotch bar upstairs.
Oh, nice!
So
that'll be something new for Lafayette as well.
Yeah, whatever you're into, you'll be able to find it at the Sizzling Monkey.
So do you guys have the rocks yet? Like, are y'all doing the rock menu?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Has anyone got that yet? And how is that going over with patrons?
People are loving it. People say they're going to be back. People are appreciating, the meat that I get all my meat from Purely Slaughterhouse out of Chicago.
Okay.
And I butcher all the meat in-house to make sure everybody has the best cuts imaginable.
Nice. How long have you been cooking for?
I've been cooking since I was about 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In your blood, too.
Yeah, I grew up watching my grandmother cook, and, I would sit there asking her, what are you doing there? Why are you doing this? Bugging her, but she loved it. She loved that I was interested in it, and, I love to eat,
Yeah.
She made me whatever I wanted, so...
Do you do the cooking classes at Roux's with Jesse as well? Or?
I was trying to I've helped him out a few times,
Yeah.
but I've tried to get into it, but my schedule's been so hectic that
I'm sure opening a restaurant is pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You actually said, when you got here that you were really nervous because you've been at the restaurant all day today.
I've been out there from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. Since
Right.
we
And
opened.
then, so you left to come do the radio show, and then you're going back
Oh
after.
yeah, I'm gonna be going back into the fire.
Yeah.
Out of the frying pan into the fryer.
So, and I know you were nervous because, I mean, it's Valentine's Day, and you were a little nervous, but you seem calmer
Oh, yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's all internal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have, and in the restaurant industry, you really have to have ice water running through your veins. You gotta keep your cool and to satisfy your patrons and get them coming back, because just one bad experience can take away
Right.
years of faithful patrons.
Did you go to culinary school, or did you work your way up in the restaurant?
Did not. I started cooking professionally at a little place called Cafe Roma in River Ranch,
Okay.
which is now known as Romacelli. I started off making salads there, and I worked my way up to kitchen manager, and then I moved to Houston, and I was going to attend culinary school out there, but I got a job at a Cajun restaurant out there. Started out making salads, ended up being the restaurant GM within a year.
Wow.
So it was at that time where I really decided that the restaurant industry is for me, cooking is for me. I love doing what I do.
There's big debate whether culinary school is actually needed, because a lot of times chefs are going and they're spending all this money at culinary school, whereas if they would have just started in the kitchen and worked their way up, they would have gotten the same experience.
I've worked with some people fresh out of culinary school that had never worked a line before, and they don't have the experience. Cooking isn't about just knowledge; it's also about experience.
Right.
It's about,
especially in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, because you can pay for all the school you want, but as soon as you step on that line, you either have it or you don't. And I think it's just a mindset rather than, education.
And I think the article, there's been numerous articles on it, but another point was that they kind of come out of they're going to culinary school because they kind of think that they're going to start as an executive chef at a restaurant. And that's not that's not the way it works. You still have to work your way up.
Right.
So it was kind of, do you need it or do you don't kind of thing? And
I don't think you can. I think you just have to have the drive and the creativity, the attitude, and a desire. What makes me do what I do is to see people enjoying something that I've created. There's no greater thrill in this world for me.
We ask everyone that comes on the show what their death row meal would be. What would be your last meal on earth?
I would have to say chicken wings and pizza.
Wow, that's a new one.
Yeah.
I like that though.
Yeah.
We were pulling up topics before the show in case we ran out of time, and it was on what people eat for Valentine's Day. And the number one item for single people ordered was chicken wings. So chicken wings, you can't go wrong with a good chicken wing.
Oh, no, especially whenever I make my own sauce.
And it makes sense that you have a buffalo
Mm-hmm.
oyster now on the menu, that you like chicken wings so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank
and the
you for
restaurant is
having me.
The Sizzling Monkey, and you guys are on Facebook. Are you on Instagram? Not sure.
I'm not sure yet.
Oh, but definitely on Facebook.
We're getting everything done with social media right now, trying to get the word out as best we can.
Okay. All right. Well, we are going to take another break. And when we come back, we have Chef Tom Ramsey calling in via phone. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPAL. Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPAL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou. And joining me now via phone is Chef Tom Ramsey. I talked about him on the show a couple of weeks ago. He closed up his restaurant in Mississippi, and he's going around the United States doing pop-up dinners and the name of it is called Stage. Thank you for joining us tonight, Tom.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, so what gave you this idea to do this?
Well, a couple of things. We used to do pop-ups on Sunday nights or Monday nights in my restaurant, and it was really the most fun I had in the restaurant. It was where we got to play and stretch and do some stuff that was not typically found on our menu. And when our lease was up and we knew we would be closing the restaurant, had a lot of offers to reopen somewhere else or do a new restaurant. And my wife and I just had a real long talk about it and said that we kind of determined that the most happy I'd been in the past few years was when we were doing pop-ups. And so I decided just to do pop-ups for a couple of years while I, was deciding what else I wanted to do. Whether I wanted to open up here or somewhere else.
Right.
And then once we kind of got into it and got a few under our belt in Jackson, it really looked like we could make this more of a business. It's similar to what Dinner Lab does, but not specifically located in individual cities, more centered around me traveling and then recruiting other chefs to travel like I do.
And how has it taken off so far? How many cities have you done?
We've only done 2.
Okay.
It's been slow going, but anytime you start getting things off the ground, we're finding our feet.
Right.
Jackson's been very successful. I mean, and we've done different types here in Jackson. We've done. We did a food truck pop-up recently where I did Cuban food out of a truck. And that one, we opened the doors at 6:15 and we ran out of food at 8:15 with people still in the line. So that one was tremendously successful. We've done more of the stage format, sit down, pre-sale ticket format. We've done that a few times, and it's a really interesting mix. We get young hipster foodies. We get people in their 60s that just that want a new experience. It's really been a lot of fun. It's been well received. It's the real test of it is going to be how well it's received as we get further and further away from Jackson, where people don't know who I am.
And so you're coming to Louisiana next Saturday, which is February 20th. You're going to be in Baton Rouge for your first one in Louisiana. That's
correct. We're going to be at a place called Simple Joe Cafe, which is a breakfast place in Mid-City in Baton Rouge. And I'm cooking with a friend of mine, Doug Hosford, who's not in the fine dining business now. He had 20 years in fine dining before he opened a place called Fat Cow, which is a tremendously successful gourmet burger joint.
Right.
They grind their own meat, and it's just a great burger. And Doug and I have cooked together at the Natchez Food and Wine Festival in Natchez, Mississippi, along with actually one of the chefs there from your hometown, Jeremy Connor. And we decided, to do Baton Rouge with Doug because, A, it's a friend of mine. B, he's got a fantastic reputation. And C, I didn't have to introduce myself to somebody and didn't have to learn how to cook with somebody else, on one of our early ones.
Right.
Doug and I have cooked with each other before, so it's, we're a known quantity to each other.
So where can people go to get more information on the dinners, and then how much does this dinner cost?
It's $100, and that includes a beverage pairing. We're going to have some wine, some beer, maybe a punch or cocktail. We're still working on that, but that's 7 courses of food plus a beverage pairing for $100, and that includes.
That's pretty
gratuity.
Affordable. So
it's real affordable, and then that, like I said, that includes gratuity and tax and everything. I think the only thing it doesn't include is the fees that the Eventbrite people charge you to host your ticket sales.
Right.
Our website is stagepopup.com. It's spelled like stage, but we pronounce it stage, like the French stagiaire or apprentice. So it's STAGE popup.com. We've also got a Facebook page and a Twitter and an Instagram and all that. And you can find any of that from the Stage website or even at TomRamsey.com.
And speaking of Chef Jeremy Connor, you guys cooked together at the James Beard House recently as well.
We did.
How was that? What was that experience like?
A lot of fun. That was my 4th beard dinner, and everyone is just as special as the first. It's really, really, really cool. To be in the house where James Beard lived and to cook with your friends. this was, again, a product of the Natchez Food and Wine Festival. This was 5 guys who had all cooked together at Natchez Food and Wine. And when the folks at James Beard asked me if I wanted to do another dinner, I said, yeah, but let me, I don't want to do a solo, and let me grab some friends. And so I thought about, how much fun we guys have every year in Natchez. And so I called the chefs that I've done dinners with in Natchez. And it was Jeremy Connor, Alex Harrell from Angeline in New Orleans, Ryan Hughes of Perlou, and Matthew Caden from Parlor Market here in Jackson, Mississippi. And so we rented a big old house in the West Village, and we were walking distance of the Beard House. So it was great. I mean, we stayed up there 4 or 5 days and had some great meals, and the meal we served was just out of this world.
And so you're planning on doing some pop-ups in Lafayette further down the road, right?
We are. Jeremy and I are planning one.
Yay!
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're trying to come up with locations and see if we want to invite another Lafayette chef to join us. Someone with a brick and mortar restaurant, because that usually makes it much easier to do if you've got a brick and mortar restaurant to kind of headquarter out of. Right. And but I'm waiting to see kind of what direction we take with it. I may be going out to the West Coast here in a few weeks.
Okay.
And cooking with Susan Feniger. Okay. And I don't know if you know Susan. She was on Top Chef Masters. She has Border Grill in Los Angeles, and her new restaurant is called Mud Hen. Okay, yeah. And, yeah, she's great. And Susan and I have talked about doing some guest chef stuff or pop-ups before, and I think we've finally got some potential dates put together to go out there and do 3 or 4 days out there with her and possibly with Ernesto Uchimura from Plan Check. So kind of want to get those dates nailed, and then we'll look at Lafayette after that.
I have a question from the ones that you've done so far, because I know the chefs in Lafayette are very supportive of each other, and anytime one of them is doing an event or a pop-up, the other chefs from the different restaurants come and support them. Has that been the case, like with you doing your pop-ups, especially in different cities that you may not, you're not known and you've never cooked at before? Do they kind of do the same thing there as well?
It's fairly universal that that chefs will support each other. It's very rare that you see chefs being petty or divisive. Right. It happens, but it's that's usually a small town mentality. Usually, the bigger the city, the more the chefs want to work together.
Okay, cool. And I kind of felt like it was universal. I just wasn't sure, so I was like, let me ask.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all kind of a brotherhood. It's and when we can support each other, we absolutely do.
All right, so the event is next Saturday. It's February 20th, 6:30 to 11:30. You have to purchase tickets in advance. What is the cutoff for ticket purchase?
Tickets will be cut off, I think, 2 days before the event.
2 days before the event. So the sooner...
We have to know, we have to have enough time to know what to buy.
Right. Sooner to purchase, the better. And you can go on Facebook and get more information on that. And I'll post a link to it.
The tickets are limited. I think we're doing like 55 seats.
Okay. Yeah. So people need to hurry up and buy their tickets then.
Yeah. There are still tickets available, but they won't last real long.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to post a link on the Lafayette Food Junkie Facebook page after the show so people can go and get more information on that.
Can you come up and join us?
I can. I'm going to be in Birmingham. I'm so sad.
Oh.
I know. I'm so sad. I really wanted to go, but I have a food conference in Birmingham next weekend. So I'm not going to make it. I know, but when you come to Lafayette.
We'll have to drag you down to the one in Florida. I don't know if you remember when you and I met.
Yeah.
I think I introduced you to Art Smith.
Yes.
And Art and I are doing one at his new place in Florida.
Okay.
It's going to benefit his charity, which helps at-risk youth study the culinary arts.
Oh, cool. Yes, I will. I will fly out to Florida.
When we get a date for that, I'll send you an invite because we'd love to have you come for that.
All right.
So Art's a great guy.
Well, Tom, thanks you so much for coming on. We're running out of time.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. That's our show. Thank you so much for